Hello and welcome to Hunting Mirage's video log number 16 for April the 6th, 2020. And what's happened for me this week is I've been doing a lot of work rearranging my set, which I was already undergoing last week when I spoke to you. And back then I think I still had the desk over here, and I was basically just sort of standing next to my desk with my keyboard behind me. But now I've completely rearranged the space. My desk is gone out of the booth. It's now a stand-up situation, so I won't be sitting down to give my vlogs anymore. And I've got all the chairs and everything out. I've put some carpet on the ground, which is nice. I've set up the lights. I've got the screen, above my keyboard gear now, which looks great. And I've got the lights looking good. I've got a bit more separation. I'm not so close to the background anymore, which looks good. And that's about that. I've been doing this because for getting ready to video the live set, because making it look good is part of it. And I'm really happy now because my desk is actually just on the other side of this wall here, which is kind of hanging inside the booth, and my desk is just on the other side, and so my monitor here is actually still on the swivel arm that it normally lives on my desk, but it's just swiveled around to face the other way, which is great because when I actually want to sit down and do computer work, I can swivel the whole, like I just lift up this curtain wall here, and I can swivel the entire monitor out and around so that it's actually facing the desk, and then I can sit over there and use my usual desk chair and do desk work. But when I want to actually do music, I can stand up at my keyboard, which is great. I can stand up over here and do use my guitar, practice to camera, etc. So this is kind of like the stage, and it's just generally a very inspiring room, and I really like it a lot. So thumbs up for new set. The other thing that I've got going, and I've forgotten my prop, so I'm going to do that thing where I jump up and then appear with the item in my hand. Here we go. Alrighty. Today I went out and bought myself, finally, after many years of deliberation, an RME Fireface UCX, which is a USB audio interface for all of you, music production nerds. It's I've wanted one of these for a long time because many moons ago I bought an M Audio Fast Track Ultra, which was one of the first USB 2 ASIO interfaces for the computer. The interface being the thing that plugs your microphones and your keyboards and all that sort of stuff in and gives you low latency like audio path. And years ago I bought an M Audio Fast Track Ultra, and almost immediately they discontinued supporting the drivers, and I had problems with the drivers and I couldn't get support. And at the time, one of my friends had bought an RME interface, like basically this one, a slightly older version. And and I looked into them at the time, and I found that they have by far the most reliable driver support in the industry. Not just really good quality drivers, but really long-term support as well. And so I've always wanted one, but the interfaces that I've bought in the past cost me like $300 or $400, and I bought this today for $1,700, which is an excellent price. So it's you pay more to get more, definitely. But I've wanted one of these for 10 years, for their driver support, for the fact that they are the lowest latency interfaces around, and low latency is everything that you're trying to go for, especially if you use a lot of VST instruments, which I do, and VST effects. But then finally, just recently, two things that happened that finally led to me pulling the trigger. One is that, and this isn't the first time I've run into this, I actually had this problem twice, where I really need a multi-client ASIO driver, because I need Ableton Live, which I use for all my playing my keyboards, and when I'm playing live, it's Ableton Live is actually the thing making that's managing all my synthesizers and actually creating the noise. And so when I have situations where I'm both, using my computer to make music and I'm also using my computer to send that sound elsewhere. So, for instance, if I'm streaming, this came up when I did my Power Glide live video that's currently on my channel, where I can't actually have OBS use the ASIO driver at the same time that Ableton Live is also using the ASIO driver with my old interface. But with RME products, you can, because their driver is multi-client and they have this software called Total Mix that lets you manage the routing of multiple client interfaces. So, both OBS and Ableton can be using the ASIO driver for the audio interface at the same time, which is awesome. And I come up against that again lately because, in the current COVID self-isolating at home situation, I had a good mate of mine, the same friend who has had one of these for ages, say, hey, let's try and get some over the internet jamming going. And we're trying some different software, and I tried to use one called Jamulus, which wants to be able to use your interface whilst you're in order to capture and send the audio. But I'm already using the interface with Ableton to produce the audio in the first place, and so I ran into this same problem of needing a multi-client driver. And I went down to the music store today, and the last thing that I noticed is that because of COVID, a lot of stuff has been going up in price. I've been looking at cameras for a while, like the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. Has gone up in price by about $500 just recently, just due to COVID, uncertainty of supply, and the stock market, and the at least the Aussie dollar has gone down compared to the US dollar, etc. And so because of all those things, everything's going up in price, and I'm sure that once this is over, it won't be going back down again, most likely. So I went to the music store today. They had this one on a special at I think it was $16.50 or something. And I thought, you know what, it's never going to get any cheaper. I've wanted one of these for a long time. None of those reasons have gone away, and so I finally bought it. Yes, I'm very happy to have it. So that's my update for this week. Look, in future, I'll might do a more in-depth review of this device. Because it really is pretty sweet. New set, new audio interfaces. That's my update for this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.